Today on Ballistic Burgers, by request, I'm cooking up a burger that was dubbed #1 burger in London, England, out of an amazing burger restaurant called Burger and Beyond. We're cooking up the Bougie Burger. Let's get going. So this request comes from a longtime subscriber, a longtime supporter of my channels, both channels, Mike Florence. I always look forward to reading Mike's comments, and I consider Mike a friend, so it's my pleasure to do this burger for him. Anyway, Burger and Beyond, they have 3 locations in the London area, one in Soho, one in Shoreditch, and one in Borough Yards. They're cranking out some killer burgers, and I know I've done one of their burgers in the past, a copycat on one of their burgers in the past, but recently this Bougie Burger was dubbed #1 burger in London, and I'm very excited about doing this recipe for you. It's got a lot of cool components. When you look at the burger, it's actually kind of a simple burger, but the complexity is the preparation leading to this burger. So if any of you are thinking this is just way too much, way too complicated, just look at components of this recipe and grab what you like, because there are some really cool, I'm calling them components, that go with this burger. And what I did was I started everything yesterday. Well, let me step back from that. I started this over a month ago because they're using dry aged meat in their burgers, and they're dry aging the meat in meat coolers that are lined with Himalayan sea salt blocks. So I ordered a couple Himalayan sea salt blocks. I have a small meat cooler chest, meat dry ager, and I dry aged a whole untrimmed tri-tip roast and a small chuck roast for 35 days. And once they were done, you know, I trimmed them, cut them into chunks, and ground them. I actually ground the meat this morning, and it looks amazing. I used a coarse die, like a chili die, on my grinder. It looks kind of like what they're using, but I like that coarse die because it really allows that fat to flow around through the burger. It makes a really, really good juicy burger. The other interesting condiment on this burger is what they're calling a steak sauce. And so Mike lives in the London area, and I had him do a little bit of recon for me, and he was actually talking with the manager of his local Burger and Beyond. And a lot of the stuff I kind of figured out from videos. I had questions about the steak sauce that they're using, and the guy was kind of tight-lipped with Mike. He did tell him it was like a beef broth based. So I went in and I looked up some recipes for authentic British, like pub steak sauce recipes. I found one that looked really interesting to me. It didn't have any beef broth, so I did some modifications, added beef broth into it. I made that up yesterday. Here's the recipe. 4 ounces of beef broth, 2 ounces of orange juice, 4 ounces of raisins, 3 ounces of dried dates chopped, 2 ounces of Worcestershire sauce, 2 ounces of malt vinegar, 2 tablespoons spicy brown mustard, 3 ounces tomato puree, 2 tablespoons ketchup, 2 tablespoons chili sauce, 1 tablespoon corn syrup, 1 teaspoon dry sherry wine, 1 teaspoon ground allspice. Get this all whisked up. All right, now we're going to get it on some heat, bring it up to a boil. All right, we have been at this now for about 8 minutes, whisking continuously. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the flame here. Get this off of the burner. You know what I have here is 2 teaspoons of browning sauce. First time I've ever used this. I'll have the link down below. Get that in there, whisk it up. You can see it definitely darkened this sauce here. And we are not done yet. Okay, sauce has been transferred to the blender. And there we are. So a little disclosure on the sauce. I have 2 things. Number one is I watched a video last night on this burger. You know, I've been kind of binge watching these Burger and Beyond videos. And it looks like with my sauce, I probably should have just pulsed it a little bit in the blender rather than, you know, kind of liquefying it like I did. Theirs is definitely a lot more chunky than mine looks. That being said, the sauce tastes amazing, so I'm not worried about that. It's more of an aesthetic that kind of grabbed me. The other thing is this morning I added 1/2 cup of 1/2 cup more of beef broth to my sauce that I made, just to loosen it up, to make it flow a little bit more like theirs does. The next thing I made is what they're calling Marrownaise, and it's kind of, as the name implies, it's a bone marrow mayo. So I have here 12 ounces of mayo and about 1/2 cup of freshly roasted bone marrow. This is from 3 nice size roasting bones. Add this to the mayo. Get that attachment on. This is for making smoothies. We're making a bone marrow smoothie right now. This stuff is awesome. If nothing else, this is a killer takeaway from this recipe. The other thing I made is what they're calling on their menu as a tallow onion confit, and here's how I made that. All right, I have a pan heated up here, and to that pan, I'm adding some beef tallow, and I'm not measuring this, I'm just plopping it in here. I may add more as I go. I'm going for like a medium heat. Now right here I have 2 very thinly sliced medium white onions. I'm going to get these in here. Add some salt, kosher salt, fresh ground black pepper. Now what I'm going to do is just simmer this. I just lowered the heat. I'm on a low heat now. And what I'm going to do is just keep this moving. Kind of just flipping it. I probably should have put it in a bigger pan. And what I want to do is cook this down until it literally melts. I want this onion to turn into a paste. All right, so I've been at this now for probably over 30 minutes. And I've been stirring and then also mashing them with my wooden spoon here. And this is what we're looking at, nice and caramely. And I did not add any additional fat. This is the original fat that I added. What I'm going to do now is I'll drain off the excess fat and set these away until I warm them up again for the burger. Last but not least, I made some pickled onion. Here's how I made that. In this jar, I have here 1 fairly large onion that I've diced up, 2 bay leaves. The solution here in this measuring cup actually started out on the stovetop in a saucepan. I have here 2 cups water, 2 cups apple cider vinegar, 1/4 cup raw sugar, 1 tablespoon pickling spice, which is all these little seeds you see in here, 1 tablespoon pickling salt, and 1 tablespoon sea salt. This was all on the stovetop at a high heat, and I just kept it on the heat until the salts and the sugar dissolved, pulled it off the heat, allowed it to cool to room temperature. Now we're going to pour it in the jar here. In the jar, Greg. The lid on. And there we are. This is going to go in the refrigerator and it'll be ready by tomorrow. Generally, I like to do this a couple days in advance, but 1 day is enough. Okay, let's cook. Burger and Beyond is using a flat top. These are smash burgers. These are not those lacy, paper thin smash burgers. They're actually cooking them up about 1/4 inch thick, and they're serving them a little bit more pink on the inside. And because of that, I'm running my flat top a little bit hotter than I normally would. I'm running this on high, so I'll be able to flip it sooner. Then on this side, I have it on low. Got my that steak sauce here keeping warm, and that onion confit keeping warm. Burger and Beyond has some of the most beautiful hamburger buns I've ever seen. I don't have any access to that type of bun. I'd have to have them custom made. So I'm using, this is a brioche, seeded brioche bun, but it has that kind of Burger and Beyond look to it. You know, the shiny with the seeds on there. Get this down and get a little bit of a toast on here. And I'll keep the bun over here to keep it warm. And here's that meat. I formed it into 2 4.5 ounce balls. And I'm not really sure how much theirs weigh, but I'm using a smasher, and this is the perfect weight for the smasher. It'll give me that 1/4 inch thick smash burger like they have. Just with some salt. We're going to give this a flip. Nice. Put American cheese down. We're using 2 slices of American cheese. First things first, on this bottom bun, I'm going to spread some of that onion confit, that onion beef tallow confit. This stuff is just unbelievably good. Just want to make sure I'm going edge to edge. Now on top of the confit, we're going to add the pickled onions, which is genius. And these are really good. But it definitely, you know, there's a lot of richness in this burger, and it needs that acid. So this burger is just amazing. I haven't eaten it yet, but just working on all the condiments, all the components of this burger, it's going to be amazing. Now, because the next things that happen very quickly, the next thing we're going to do is add that Marrownaise to the top bun. I go pretty darn generous with this mayonnaise or Marrownaise. And when I made this, I wanted to make sure I was going marrow heavy. And the flavor is just amazing. I mean, this is this is a game changer in the burger world. All right, let's do this. Now those beautiful patties down. Look at that. Now I'm taking my gloves off for this next step, and I'm going to enjoy this how I would if I were actually in the restaurant. The next thing they do is they take that beautiful sauce, they pour it on the burger. And then to cap it off, they do a twist. And I'm very proud to present the Bougie Burger from Burger and Beyond. Look at that. That is just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I don't think this is a first date burger. I mean, you get messy before you even start eating it, but I am really looking forward to this. And the bottom bun stayed pretty darn intact. This is where I wish I was one of those channels that had a team of people running around doing everything so I don't have to do it. And letting me know when I have stuff all over my face, because I've done videos before and then you're editing it and it drives me crazy. There's like a sesame seed stuck to my cheek or something. But alas, just me, my cameras, and my grill. Anyway, give me my opinion on this. Very, very, very rich, and it really needs those onions. those onions help in many ways. Texturally, the burger, everything on it is, pretty soft as far as textural go, the textures. The meat, is obviously has that really, you probably heard it on the camera. The meat is very crisp, it has that really beautiful crust on it. So there's that, but it needs that, the fresh texture and the fresh flavor of that pickled onion. It really cuts through all of that fat. I mean, you think about it, this was a lot of fat in this meat, way more than 20%. The bone marrow mayonnaise, there's a lot of fat in that. I mean, again, 3 big beef bones worth of marrow in there. But everything comes together and works very well. It would not work well if it wasn't for those onions that are in there. This is a messy, messy burger, but in a good way. I think the best way of describing this, it's one of those words, I really try to not use that often because it's overused, is it's an umami bomb. And it is. It's so savory. It's almost hard to describe. That dry-aged beef, it adds a little bit more earthiness to the beef patty than just a normal off-the-shelf, minced meat, ground beef. It has a little bit more of that funkiness, not in a bad way, but I love dry-aged meat. Then that American cheese on there, but that mayonnaise stuff, that Marrownaise, is amazing. I'll be using that on other burgers. The sauce application, I think a lot of that's just for presentation reasons. I don't think it's necessary to end up with a burger in a bath of sauce, but it's cool. And like I said, I'm still eating it. I'm not putting it back in the plate though. I'm setting it on the cutting board, but bottom bun's still there. It's a really good burger. The confit onions, they add that sweet caramelized flavor, but again, with that beef tallow going on, which even adds even more richness. Again, the onions are the hero of this burger. It needs those onions. For me, there were many takeaways from this. I absolutely love this steak sauce. And it has things like, a lot of people like raisins, but like A1 steak sauce has raisins in it. I've never had a steak sauce, I don't think, with dates in it. And I would really love to know what they're putting in their steak sauce. Mike, when you go there again, and I should have asked you this question before, if you have this burger, I want to know what those little chunks in it are. Are they raisins in there, pieces of raisin? I was very excited about doing this video, and I still am. I'm really, really glad I did this. Everything worked out the way I wanted it to. If you're going to do this, you definitely want to make everything you're going to need to build this burger in advance. That the sauce and the Marrownaise. Again, I don't know whether there are a lot of restaurants really use regular store-bought mayonnaise as a base and then kick it up with things. I don't know if that's what they're doing. I just did not have the energy to make a homemade mayo after making the homemade sauce and everything else. And this tastes really, really good. It does not taste like a store-bought mayo. And this is going in my fridge, and it's going to live there until it's empty. Anyway, Mike, thanks for the request. I appreciate you big time. Hopefully one of these days we can have a pint over a couple burgers. If you're new to the channel or you're not subscribed, please take the moment and just hit that sub button, ring the notification bell, thumb it up if you like it. Hope you did, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers.